Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS, presented by Fisherman's Marine and Outdoor.
Welcome back, everybody. Look who we got. We got Nick Popoff, and he's got the green gloves and all, and Big Dave, but he doesn't have his white glasses on. That's okay. We won't judge him. We won't judge him. How you guys doing this morning?
Good morning. We're doing well. We were hooked up, ready to go this morning, and it rained a little too much, and it's raining again now. So we got the day off. It looks like for maybe a few days. I don't know. It's looking like we got some weather coming.
Well,
lots of rain.
That's a perfect time to talk to you. When you got two pros like yourself, you're not on the water on a Saturday. Obviously, things went south, okay, and not in a good way. So overall, and I'm only rushing because I only get 8 minutes here with you two guys. I'd love to have an hour. Up to this point, how's the salmon fishing been?
You know, we both were, in the bays, and we had a pretty good season. Quite a few fish. We've been messing around the tidewaters too here recently, and in the rivers a little bit on some of the days we got a little water. And yeah, so far we've been seeing some fish, and we've actually we were out yesterday and saw probably 50 spawn fish that were spawning, reds everywhere.
Nice.
So I would say it was probably an above average year. And the cool thing about this year is it was so spread out. You know, it was good in the Columbia. It was good down south. It was good on the coast. It's been just kind of mixed, and it didn't force everybody into one area, which is kind of cool this year. There's been fish in the rivers. Like you said, we got early rain that brought some in. And so I'd say overall, pretty good year.
Yeah, and still, a lot of that happened when, it was still extremely low. I mean, this is going to be, what really kicks off all your coastal streams and really all over the place.
Yeah.
This is the first big storm of the year, so this is it. It's about due, though.
Here we go.
Time of year.
Okay, well, that's one of the reasons why this is just the perfect time, and we appreciate you two taking some time with us this morning. Nick, you spend a lot, and Dave, of course, spend a ton of time in a drift boat when things are the right way. Things are going to change, in theory, in the bays now because you're going to have a big shot of water. Are you going to make a change and get into the rivers now, or are you going to play it out and wait until the bays get back? What's your plan going forward?
So for me, I made the change from the river. I probably mid-October, I quit in the bay, but it was kind of a bad decision because we got a lot of dry weather, and so I was stuck kind of down in the tidewaters more. Now after this, but this is kind of what we wait for, is this real shot of rain, like to get the rivers up, flooded, push all the leaves and stuff that's on the banks, over the summers, and as the fall comes, push all that stuff out. Now we'll be in the drift boat. I know for sure I will. I think
I'm pretty much. Yeah, I was in the sled here up until a couple days ago. So yeah, and it was still really good in the bay. So hopefully we'll have some good fish in the rivers this year.
Well, not too far away from you, less than a pitching wedge away, you got a pretty interesting river. What's the condition of it this morning? Overall, up and down the coast, are they all browned out? Are they all mudded up? What's the story?
Brown and lots of debris, lots of leaves.
Lots of debris.
I mean, there's been a day or two this year where we were
the only two
boats out there, and we found some fish, but we're not out there today.
It was just to put it in perspective. I went down and checked it this morning at 5:30 because we both had trips, ready to go, people waiting. And we went down and looked at the river, and it was about a foot of visibility. And by the time it got daylight, it was already just complete mud and washed out. So it's coming
a lot of debris. There's still quite a bit of leaves on the trees. So, we had a little frost, so that did knock some down, but there's going to be some more to come. I mean, you're going to have some debris in these rivers for a while now.
Understanding
it kind of cleans up.
Understanding what's happened the last 24 hours, all the rivers up and down the coast have popped. Now, some of them are a little bit slower to get to the pop range, but you're starting to see some of those coastal rivers start to turn over. Is there a timeline that you give yourself after it peaks, turns over, and starts to fall, that you go, yep, let's go? It doesn't matter what the conditions are. Doesn't matter what it looks like. You just go, or do you wait until that clarity and the fall all kind of coincide?
I would say for me, it's kind of a little bit of everything. We kind of have the advantage of living near the rivers where we can come down and check them, so we kind of get the bird's eye view of them.
And there's a lot of days where I'll book it to where I can be in, a small boat, be in my drift boat or be in my sled.
Yeah.
But then I'll book a sled trip with 6 people at the end of October with, no worries of, they're not being fished in the bay. So, you know, until and I don't know how many times, you know, you hear the story of the guy catching one in December in the lower pay, you know, so, and there, you know, there is a run of winter kings that do come in too that are just late fish. So you never, you know, you could go catch one in the bay weeks from now if you wanted to go fish in the bay.
Right.
You could. They're passing through a lot faster. They're not holding up as much because, you know, you got water in the rivers then, but you know, they're still coming in. They should be coming in.
Well, this is the time, like Nick mentioned earlier, this is the time that you guys wait for. Obviously, professionals, everyone, they've got clients that they are taking down the river. There's a bunch of dudes out there just like me that are going to go out and go play bumper boats someplace. Any advice that you could give folks, doesn't matter what the system is, based on these conditions, it's changing over. You're going to have an aluminum hatch, or for some, a glass hatch all over the place. Any advice that you could give folks out there to maybe make fishing with each other a little more comfortable?
Yeah, I mean, you know, the biggest thing for us, I mean, for anyone, any angler out there, we understand that, you know, it's become popular. There's a lot more people on the river. Just be courteous, man. Like, you know, there's enough water for everybody. Give everybody plenty of room. You know, you don't have to anchor right on top of someone. You know, be courteous. Do some. If you're doing
stay out the holes in the low clear water, that's a good one too. You know, I mean,
just imagine like someone, if you would get offended by someone doing something to you, don't do it to somebody else type deal. And it's inevitable with as many boats that are going to be on the water coming up here. There's probably going to be some, you know, some situations that arise. Just try to do your best.
And that's great advice. I mean, really, you got to think about it, right, guys? I mean, it's going to happen. There's going to be a situation where folks are going to come down and they're going to be coming down to somebody that's already on anchor and go, hey, we want to fish that spot too. Well, tough, man. We're already here. Okay, we're already fishing. You can go around us. Don't low hole me. But let's just play along, play nice, everyone, and maybe just have some fun. Now, I don't know about you guys. I know that you're professionals, right? But when I'm out there, my friends or whatever, you can sometimes work together with other boats to really kind of pinpoint an area and work it over, right? Without having any issues. I mean, is that something that you run across, or is it always some sort of a battle?
Well, I think on, you know, some of the rivers we fish, they're highly populated, and like you always do run into those scenarios, but people for the most part,
yeah,
are
people
pretty courteous.
Decent. You just, you know, you'll get some people once in a while that
that kind of leave that behind. Or
they just don't know.
They just don't know, and they haven't, you know, they don't know that, you know,
the etiquette
of what to
that
do.
happens too.
Well, that's a good point too. Now, guys, I'm down to my last 30 seconds, so we already know that you're booked up, so I'm not even going to throw that out there. If you're able to get out with these guys in any way, shape, or form, good luck to you. But if you do, you're going to have some fun. When do you think the rivers are going to be perfect? Last question. I got 15 seconds.
You know, it's going to be a minute, I think. We just looked at the forecast and they're calling for what, an inch?
Yeah, there's a lot of rain coming. And I really think the big thing is going to be the debris. It's really hard to fish in that debris. So here in a little while, once it starts cleaning up a little bit, I think you'll see some of our better fishing.
I think we got 3 or 4 days of straight rain coming. And I think as soon as, usually we get a big storm like this, 3 or 4 days, and then, you know, 2-3 days after that, it falls into shape. And you know, it just depends on where you're at too. Every river can come in a little bit earlier or a little bit later than the others.
Everyone, that's Nick Popoff, owner of Peel to Reel Guide Service. On the left, you've got Big Dave Manners, owner of Big Dave's Guide Service, and Wilson River Lodge, for crying out loud. If you want a great place to stay along the coast, go check that out. Thanks, guys, for spending some time. We really do appreciate it. And I'm going to force you to take me steelhead fishing with just you two this year.
You don't have to force us.
Hey.
You don't have to force us.
I'm loving it. Have a good weekend, guys. Good luck. Be safe.
Thanks, Owen. Thank you, guys.
All right, guys, we're going to cut to a break. When we come back, and gals, when we come back, we're going to wrap